Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for prize fighters, circus freaks, and gangsters. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Greta.
And we are here, as always, to discuss the food, fashion, and fun of the 19th century. And we always use TVs and movies to figure out what all of the awesome stuff in the 19th century was and how it was happening. And also, how good it smelled, which is my favorite thing to discuss. So today, it's Season 3, Episode 7, Gotta Be Crooked to Get Along in a Crooked World. Smell-o-vision coming soon to the nostrils.
Okay, I'm disappointed in you for bringing that up, but mainly for forgetting fraud. Because the fraud, the crime, that is so much about what's going on in our crooked world here. Never leave that out again.
Never again. Never again. Bad Jamie. Bad Jamie. I realized I was really far from my mic, and I was trying to move forward towards my mic, and then I left out one of the precious 4 Fs.
There you go. But yeah, we're back in the Rice Bowl, back in Chinatown, and everything is going down. We gotta save Father June, and it's all coming apart, fraying at the edges.
And we are back in the world of our girl, Denny Gordon, who was the director from Season 2, Episodes 9 and 10. So, yeah. Our girl does not mess around when it comes to telling a story. She would rather punch it into your face than
right.
deal with the fripperies.
And I will say that was the easiest bullet ever to retrieve from an abdominal wound. He just went in there and found it right away. I was like, Still, lucky Father June that it was just sitting there on top.
Well, we rushed him right into Chinese surgery, which was quite a bit different than our battlefield surgery that we've seen at Leary's bar or in the Civil War throwbacks. It was a lot different of a situation.
I mean, the doctor looked a lot cleaner for one, and then they gave him probably a tincture of opium or something. Like, hey man, this will stop you from struggling around. And then check out that nice clean gauze that the doctor had available.
I wrote down that my notes here were used clean gauze, exclamation point. And so I really, I had COVID last week, and my wife and I entertained ourselves by watching some Chinese and Korean detective films, the Detective D and Detective K films, and I had completely forgotten that acupuncture was used in lieu of anesthetics for surgery in China and Japan and Korea back in the day. And it's actually proven to work, like, via science. Like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, that can block pain for, big-ass surgery.
I mean, that's amazing. I just think about, all of the tech that you would need. I mean, first of all, they had developed metal tech and wire tech to such precision that they could turn out those acupuncture needles like en masse, whereas back in Europe they're still hand pounding out nails.
They got a blacksmith making their syringes. Yeah. Oh God, what a mess. Yeah, it was amazing because you could see the Song Dynasty, like they had like water collection systems and sewers and they had public bathhouses. I mean, it's really fascinating. I definitely recommend those films. But I'm getting off topic because the Chinese, we forget that the Asians were so far ahead of the Europeans until the 20th century that it doesn't even hardly bear discussion. So Father June here kept his body intact and didn't die of sepsis. I mean, he's not looking good, but a white man would have been dead already, probably.
Oh, yeah. I mean, clearly there was some nickage somewhere because that guy definitely has some, fever from this. But the fact that, his whole abdomen didn't explode of massive, disgusting infection means, it was just a minor problem. And if they'd had antibiotics at that point, he probably would have been okay.
Yeah, he just needed some Egyptian beer.
There you go.
The pyramid-building beer, and he would have been A-okay.
But even as much as we sort of focus on how bad Father June is feeling, I feel like Young Jun is feeling terrible because it's one thing, you're like, my dad's in the wind, he's out there, and then he comes back. And it's like, okay, well now like Father June's gonna be my bud. That's okay too. But he started to like lean back on his dad, and all of a sudden, shoot, it's just yanked out from under him, and he's like, oh God, oh God, oh God, I've lost my footing again. Like Young Jun looks even worse than when Father June left the first time.
Seems like any time a person is like, they're just going to plant their feet and put their hands on their hips and be like, this is reality and this is where we live and this is my place in the world and this is what I'm doing. It's real easy to yank the rug out from under those people.
Yeah.
They're pretty easy to push over. Whereas these nimble people who are dancing around all the time and their feet are never quite set, they're fine. They're like our boy last night, Mahomes, just kind of dancing around in the backfield. Dad bod just rocking it. Nobody can get him. But, I mean, he got sacked a bunch. But still, There were a number of times he disappeared under a pile of people, popped right out fine.
Got back
if he
up.
had planted his feet, he would have been done.
Well, and Assam's that way. He's like, yeah, nothing's certain. You know, the number of times my sister's tried to kill me. I've tried to kill my sister, but we're like still working together sometimes. I don't know. Yeah, Assam isn't going to plant his feet solidly anywhere. He's always going to be on his toes.
No, he's like, I've read this script. We're in the Young and Restless. Like, nobody dies and stays dead even. I know what's going on here.
So he's like, all right, up on his toes, eyebrows up, eyes wide open, like hands out, like he's ready to take it on. But then we switch to the world's worst food sneak thieves. I mean, who breaks out the front window of a store if you're trying to be sneaky and just steal food to feed your family?
Yeah, this isn't a mechanized part of the world, so there's not a lot of noise. I mean, you get your average noise at night, but the sound of breaking glass carries at night.
Yeah. And they think they're being all sneaky, and they come out and they're like, well, we're white guys in Chinatown. We're cool. Not realizing Atwood's boys, they don't care who they beat up in Chinatown. They just want to beat somebody up in Chinatown.
Yeah, I was like, oh, look at this. Cops are doing their job. Like,
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. And
so they arrest a couple of white guys, and then Leary gets called in to clean up the mess. Mm-hmm. And Leary's like, I got these guys jobs, and now you want me to get them out of jail? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he was like, are you fucking kidding me? Do something for us. Okay, I'll do something for us. Well, that's not enough. He's ready to smack these guys. Like, ah. And the dad's like, just, boys being boys. Boys will be boys, right? Right? And Leary's like, no. Fuck.
Yeah, it's like every dad who's ever tried to go on TV and explain how his son murdered a man while raping him during a quote-unquote hazing ritual. It's like, oh, yeah, it was hazing, and definitely not gay. You just fell down the stairs and landed inside that man. But they're always like, he's a good boy. He's not a bad boy. He's just...
And he's never done anything like this before, ever. I'm like, you don't end up at 11. You had to go through a lot of steps. Yeah.
It's not, that's a lot of, you got to do some petty crime first. You can't just jump right into the big leagues. You got to dip your toe in. That's not a jump in the deep end sort of situation.
No. You worked yourself up to be able to dehumanize your fellow human being quite that thoroughly.
Yeah, but it seems like these dads are very practiced at explaining away their children's shitty behavior.
Which is why the other reason you're like, yeah, this is not the first time you liar who lies.
I guess that probably that speech is pretty practiced by the time they get on TV with it.
So yeah, Leary gets the biggest sigh in the world, and we also have the other person who's sighing, O'Hara, who puts his pride in his back pocket, and he's going to go get the job that his wife wants him to go get. So he goes to what is this dusty pit of hell?
Yeah. He's just shoveling rocks. He's at a rock shoveling job.
Well, it was hilarious because he sort of like strolls in there in like my nice, honest working man's clothes. He's like, all right, I'm here to work for you, brother-in-law Horace. And Horace is like, why are you wearing that? Get on these dirtier clothes and get out there and shovel some rocks. Pride's not in your back pocket. You're going to have to chew that up and swallow it. bub.
Yeah, and I don't think there was any actual intention to move him up in the ranks. I think so. He lured. He was like, I'll give you a job to get your wife out of my house. Ha ha! That job is dog shit. But at least your wife's out of my house.
Yeah. No, the look on Horace's face, he was like enjoying like getting one over on Mr. I'm better than you morally because I'm a cop dude or whatever. I don't know what was going on in his head.
It was a lot of weird antipathy that was unexplained, but it seems like in the 19th century everybody hated everybody pretty much. Unless you were in the acting community, in which case you just loved each other and hoped nobody murdered you while you were sleeping.
Right. I mean, it's just like, Horace, you're not playing the long game here. As much as it might be fun to torture your brother-in-law, wouldn't you rather, like, he gets a decent job, then his wife is happy, so your wife, who's her sister, is happy, and, like, everybody's, like, a lot happier? No. Horace doesn't care about that. He just wants to sit there and, like, poke O'Hara in the eye.
Yeah, not really thinking it through either with the happy wife, happy life thing. I don't... It's an annoying thing that people say, but it's true. Like, if you make your own life miserable by making your wife unhappy, obviously your house is going to suck because you've pissed off your wife. Maybe just try to figure out a way to live together in your own home. But
the happy wife, happy life. It's sort of like, yes, but just treat all of the people who surround you well, and life will be better. Because I've got to do this ridiculous thing that I don't want to do for my wife, happy life. It's like, no, that misses the point by 1,000 miles.
Yeah, it's turning a good idea. It's doing a good thing for bad reasons. It's exactly like what I talk to you all the time off camera about with the people that annoy the shit out of me. There is no saving them. It's just because they're going to do the right thing for the wrong reasons, even if they do accidentally do the right thing. It's annoying.
Let's Autoy for a while. And she's back in her place. She's running it under new management with all the ex-prostitutes kind of doing the behind the scenes work, and some annoying dude just like storms in and thinks he's going to tell Autoy in her house what she's going to do for him.
Yeah, because I'm a pimp and I'm a man.
Yeah.
I didn't expect this, but he comes charging in like, you got my hose and I'm getting them back. And she's like, no, you're not.
And she's like, she's not going to call the cops.
And then Lie kicks his ass off a fucking balcony. It's amazing.
Oh, there was a great scene where like he comes in, he's like, rah, 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 and Autoy's like facing him down, and Lie comes into the background, a blur, and Autoy puts up that wait finger.
She holds up that one finger. Yeah.
Beautiful. Just a signal. Wait for it.
and that guy totally missed the fact that it like, he just had his life spared. He's just going to keep talking wild.
And Autoy also did. She knew. She's like, yeah. I have women doing sort of the management of my brothel, but I need dudes around. I need a few big bodies.
Yeah. Well, and also, like, I just had never... It's a weird thing to think about a human being as your property. So it's really, like, this was so unexpected for me. And then I was like... Well, it's like true romance, I guess, but it still is so weird to hear somebody talk about a human being like that. I'm like, all right, this is weird shit. It's weird.
Yeah, I guess reading so much about like the 16th through the 18th century and even into the 19th, you just read these people's journals and they talk about them like livestock. It's disturbing and depressing and sad. And you're like, wow, and there are people who still see the world that way. And they're just intransigent about it.
Like, my cats are my friends. They live in my house by choice. They can go in and out as they please. I like it that way. Like, I don't want them to be trapped in my house. The idea of trapping someone in your house and then you're the only thing that stands between them and freedom and you're going to go to sleep? How does that work? None of it makes any sense. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, I've got indoor cats because they're too dumb, but
no, I mean, I'm talking about human beings, not cats. But
I'm like, even with the cats, I still make their lives as pleasant as possible, because like, I don't want the miserable things living in my house. And like you're saying, if you're trapping somebody in a house, they are miserable, and all they're thinking about in all of their free time and often when they're doing other things, how they are going to kill you. Yeah.
Yeah. How to escape, how to kill you. That's all I would think about if I was in that position.
But yeah, Pimp Guy like comes in and he threatens Atoy, and I'm like, dude, if there's one thing we've learned, you don't threaten Atoy. You just kill her straight off, or just walk away. Don't threaten her, because she will fuck you up.
Now that I think of it, this was happening in the North still. People were still going to the North and saying, that's my human being, bring him back. So, okay, this makes sense. I was really struggling with, how the fuck does this work? How does he think that he owns them if they got free? But they were doing that. Southerners were still stealing people out of the North until the 20th century and later. So...
Well, and also he's going into a mostly illegal brothel, and it's like, yeah, who is she going to call? Like the Hop Way or Crumbling? What, she going to go to the cops? No. Well,
everybody knows she's the world's biggest Chinese man in her in her employ. And he doesn't even know any karate. He's just going to come bash you on the head.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter. It's sort of like a couple of those O-line guys last night. I was like, those are extremely giant walls of people. Wow.
Yeah. Imagine Nick Bosa,
right?
Is mad at you. Yeah. Even one of Nick Bosa's arms is mad at you. You're like, well, that's it. That's it for me. I'm just gonna go ahead and lay on down. Why run?
But my favorite part of that whole fight scene, and Lai just kicks him over the railing, and in my head, that was the table that Young Jun had hatcheted. So. That's what I do with hatcheted furniture. I get somebody else to pay for it. So yeah, Atoy's solving her problems, and now Buckley and Leary and Strickland are gonna go deal with their problems.
Strickland and Leary are gonna solve Buckley's problems for them all.
Yes, and they come rolling in there, and he has the same look on his face as Assam did last episode. It's like, okay, you guys are going to posture and you're going to threat. Can we just skip to the end? Come on.
Yeah.
I've been doing politics long enough. I know where this is going to. Can we just skip to the end?
It's the verbal equivalent of the guy like myself who just does not want to. If I want to fight somebody, I don't want to go through all the chit chat. I don't want to have a conversation with you. Let's get right down to it. We don't need to dance around and hype ourselves up. I'm ready. And that's where he is. He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm ready. Put me in, coach. And then promptly gets his fucking ass whipped. Because they're like, yeah, so we took care of your competition for you without you asking, and now we own you. So you're welcome, and you should thank us now. And then we'll leave after you've thanked us.
Yeah, and Buckley's like, I don't like owing people favors. And Strickland's like, do you even politics? Come on.
Yeah, and also tough shit, because you already owe us. Right. So we already took care of it. And again, you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no. You can't decide that if you're going to do politics, you can't decide there's no favors. Like, no.
Well, and that's exactly how, mafia favors apparently were always given. They always gave a favor with leverage. So it was like, I will do something for this person. I know that they have got to get done. But I'm going to do it so that they have to be in my pocket. Now I got you. So it's over. But because I already did the thing. They don't even wait for permission. They just do the thing.
Right. Yeah,
it had to be done anyway, and they were going to do it anyway. And so they were like, well, I was just about to fuck. You beat me to it. Shit, now I got to pay you. All right, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're doing the exact same thing here. Just scooted in front of them at the drive-thru.
But I didn't know. Somebody else ordered that for you, but it's already been paid for you, so you can't return it.
Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah.
Yep.
And those gentlemen are waiting over there for you. They're the ones with the guns. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Happy Jack.
That would be the worst pay it forward thing at Starbucks ever. That would be the greatest flipboard moment of my entire life, just watching this Am I the Asshole? And then he stuck a gun in my eye and he said, I have to work in a mob now. So that's how I became a drug mule.
Yeah. Well, you want to know who else is good at being an asshole? Happy Jack. He's coming into Abby's bar, and he is that guy. He's like all wound up. He's probably coked up, and you can't tell me to leave, and I'm just going to be like, blah, 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 touching all your stuff, moving everything. Like, just the look on Abby's face. I was like, I have been her. She's like, I'm just going to have to, like, sit here and just let you spin off because I don't have a good way of getting you to just fucking quit touching my stuff.
Well, she does. She does have a very excellent way to get him to quit touching her stuff.
She does.
She blows a gigantic hole in him with a shotgun.
Yeah, because he does, like, step over the line, and it proves that Abby really is better at this than Happy Jack was.
Yeah. Also, she's the wrong one. So when Leary's guys come for the dark-skinned ladies, they're going to find they're having a rough time with it. Mm-hmm. It's not going to go well.
Yeah, Abby, unlike the pimp guy, like, he comes in threatening and rah, 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 and monologuing and blah, blah. Abby's like, I will always only get one chance, and maybe not even a good chance. So I don't fuck around and, like, chit-chat at you. Like, you open the door just a little bit, and I have to take that chance now. We can talk about it later.
Yeah. So the whole time she's talking in her head, she's in Braveheart, and she's like, hold, with the horses charging up on her position, just waiting for him to turn his back so she can blast him.
And so Abby's great at being realistic. Yan Mi might possibly be even better at being realistic, because she, Assam is still, like, faffing around, and she's like, yeah, I also only get one chance here. I can't do this. So she does the little rom-com thing where she tells Assam, you're more than just the quarterback. But
oh yeah, there were so many Dawson's Creek moments in this episode. It really went from, like, Quentin Tarantino to Dawson's Creek in a split second, over and over.
Yeah.
Boy, that is a really dated reference, but I don't know. The Archie TV.
Oh, Riverdale. So we get to see, that Father June isn't in great shape, and he totally confirms that he was in the Opium Wars.
He's not just not in great shape. He is violently hallucinating from his injuries, and
yes.
Yeah. It seems he might have an infection of some sort. I'm no doctor.
Little bit, yeah. No, he is wandering around in bad shape. But I was like, this is not going to go well for Father Jude. But see, I told you he was in the Opium Wars. Look, he's talking about all of his movements, fighting the Navy and the guns. And
yeah, you did.
I get excited about the wrong things in this show sometimes.
No, I was like, she was right. She was right the whole time.
So, and you could just see Young Jun's face. He's like, this is worse. Maybe we should have just had him die. Like he doesn't really want his dad to die, but he's realizing, like, as badly as everything's going, like, the stressed look on his face is just like, this is so bad.
Also, this stupid shit knows that his dad wanted to go out scrapping. And the second that he rolled back into that, he was like, I'm about to die in a blaze of glory. And he just happened to get injured and he's dying slow. But, like, Young Jun is just in his feelings all stupid about this. And in every wrong way, rather than just giving his dad a hug and being like, let's go back to bed, Dad, and let's see if I can get you some witch hazel for this wound. Nah, he spazzes out more each time.
Well, again, he has to make a high-pressure decision, and we know he is bad at that.
He's just bad at decisions, period. If you ask this guy what he wanted for lunch, he'd probably stab somebody out of the stress of the decision. So,
and that's why Hong is in charge of food.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. People constantly are telling me about analysis paralysis, and I'm like, it must be something that happens to stupid people. It's never happened to me. I don't know.
It also happens to people who are very smart, but, like, don't, for whatever reason, they've decided that making decisions is bad.
Ah.
It doesn't only have to be dumb people. Something has happened to them to make them think that decision making is bad.
Ah. Oh, okay. They've had some traumatic.
Right.
Well, maybe that's what happened to Young Jun. Maybe at some point he didn't decide to freak out about something, and so now he just, every time he has to make a decision, he's like, I'll stab somebody, and then we'll figure it out afterwards.
But yeah, speaking of somebody who's thinking he might get to stab somebody, Leary, he's like, all right, fine, I'll fix this. I'll like roll into the police station. I'll talk to O'Hara. We'll get these idiots and then I'll punch him in the face a few times because God damn it. But it doesn't work out that way.
Oh, so I am so conflicted during this scene because this chief is the type of dude who will just invalidate. He's one of those guys who gets on the internet and he's like, you ended a sentence with a preposition, therefore your entire subject, and it's like, oh my God, because they ended a sentence in the preposition, that's what you're predicating your entire rebuttal on? But he's that type of guy who's just like such a stickler for detail. He's like, you misconjugated this verb, and so the whole thing is null and void. And it's like, what the fuck, man? He's like a paper-pushing version of Judge Dredd, this guy.
Oh, yeah. And it did strike me as pretty interesting. Like, so he's one of those annoying micromanager guys, and so he makes sure everybody who works for him, like, they're into the beatdowns, but none of them are too smart or too ambitious.
No, and they're also hyper-focused on details, so they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what they're doing or why. They're just like, I just have to do these things in this order, or else I'll be beaten and fired.
Right. Well, you mean his underlings? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you keep them focused on all this minutia, then they never look up to ask, so why are we beating up everybody and bashing up all these businesses? It doesn't make any sense.
You like beating people up. Oh, yeah, that's right. So anyway, you can't do anything unless I tell you, or you'll be in total trouble. So then they're just sitting around the police office largely not doing anything unless they're out beating up people in the streets. Like, that's not...
Then he'll come in and be like, and see, they tax us too much. It's not we're mismanaging our tax dollars. Go out and beat some people up about the taxes. And it's like, well, if these policemen were solving crimes rather than beating people up, maybe the taxes would be managed better.
But Leary sort of is like...
focused on the wrong things.
Leary is sort of telling him, he's like, come on, this wasn't so bad. It was just like a little, boys will be boys. I can't believe I'm saying this. And Atwood is like, no, it's drunken thuggery. And you know what? I want all the thugs working for me, and they have to be sober when they're beating people up.
Oh, you missed so much subtext, male posturing and subtext. So these are two diametrically opposed types of guys. You have Leary on the one hand, who likes to punch the shit out of every solution, but he's also one of that punch and handshake guys. So like, my word's my bond, and I'll do everything on my honor and all that shit. So he's used to having these handshake agreements with people.
Yeah, he's the point A, point B, point C. Yes. Like 1, 2, 3, done.
And then this guy is he's not only like not that, but he is like both untrustworthy and he's being dishonorable, acting in a dishonorable way, but he's protected by his position in such a way Leary has no idea what to do. So you see him like take his hat off, and he's like, all right, sir, I'm going to try to be polite, and I'm going to say this in the way that I'm supposed to. He's like got his hat in his hand, literally his hat in his hands, and he's trying to play the nice game, and this man chews him to pieces. And it was brutal to watch because Leary was very unprepared for this beating, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I could sort of see it ticking over in his head like, oh, this is what Strickland's talking about, and I have no fucking clue what to do. Yeah, exactly. It's just the panic. There was serious panic in his eyes. It's like, no, I hate this. I hate this.
And it's such a great insight into the 19th century where you're like, I don't know how to pick a side. Because when you're like, all right, well, I would like women to vote. And then it's like, well, then that means you hate people who drink and you want prohibition and you want this. And like, it just leads you into all, and then it's like, well, you hate abortions and you're like, what? How did I get on that side? It's like, they just,
yeah. You're like, yeah, I'm for abolition. Oh, okay, so you don't want me to drink. What? How did that?
Yeah.
No. I think drinking in moderation is okay. Oh, you're one of those wishy-washy, I hate women who vote people.
Yeah.
What? Help.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was like no side was a good side to pick. It was just either you were on your own side or you were on a side where you hated most everybody.
And I think that's a great analog for the way politics are now, like leading up to the Civil War. And then also there was a period, right at the beginning of the 20th century where like all of the positions had been taken to their extremes, or at least the other side was vilifying them to their extremes. You're like, I think people should have fair housing prices. Oh, you're a communist Marxist, huh? You want to, shoot every property owner in the streets. You're like, no. I think the wages you're paid in a week should comfortably cover. Like, if you work all week, you shouldn't be poor. Commie.
Yeah, exactly. The minimum wage in Pennsylvania is still $8. $8. $8. That's what I made as a 15-year-old in high school. Working, what? $8. $8. And then when that was when I was working under the table, I was making $8 an hour, and then I went to work for Whole Foods, and they were paying us $12 an hour, and that was in 1993 or 4.
And you're like, wow, I am making good money here. Like, I can pay for stuff.
Well, I was a teenager in high school.
No, but that felt like a shit ton of money. And now...
it was money you could have fun with on the weekends.
But even $8 an hour now for a teenager, they're like, that's not really that much money.
It's less than no money. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if you were like, oh, I'll just get a minimum wage job to pay for stuff to play around in the summer, that doesn't.
No.
That is.
No. The cutoff for the middle class now is $144,000 for your household.
That's not $8 an hour.
It's a significant amount of money. But anyway, we're off topic. Back to the hell of the 19th century. Well, I would like to say it's better than it was in the 19th century, except the income disparity is worse. So, let's look to a better time, I guess. Yeah, that's the complexities of the 19th century, because it was only better in income disparity. Most everything else sucked shit.
Yeah, so Bill is walking in because he gets called into the office. Horace calls him in, and my favorite thing is Horace is like, leave the door open, sort of like, boy, do you stink. Let that fresh air flow in here while you're standing in front of my desk.
Boy, he's really just playing up the shit-heel brother-in-law.
Oh, yeah. He's like, here.
He does all the right things, though. He's like, I was working too slow. I guess I'll work harder tomorrow. I will do a good job for you, Mr. Brother-in-law. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I love you.
Yeah, because Horace is like, here's another dram of your pride. Swallow that down. And O'Hara's like, I really actually do love my wife. It's not like happy life, happy wife. These two actually really do love each other.
Yes, he wants his wife back. It's lonely living by yourself.
Yes, but, he actually likes her.
Well, yes, being lonely is preferable to living with somebody you dislike. I was like, he genuinely would like to be around her, yes.
Yeah, there you go. And speaking of wanting to be around each other, maybe, probably, I don't know, Yeonmi and Assam are halfway through their rom-com movie. And so they're like, we love being together, but nobody wants us to be together. And that brings us together even more strongly. And in this case, the disapproval is coming from Mai Ling.
Well, they do that, like, fun teenage shit that, it's not just teenage shit, 20-something shit, too, where you're... the second you can get alone with the person that you're hooking up with, you guys just start going at it. So Mai Ling walks in on them, and totally like they're in high school again. It's pretty fun.
Oh, yeah.
And then Mai Ling starts handing out the first of her wedding invitations, which was the first time I was shocked by one of these wedding invitations in this episode. But I think that she's just dropping them like bombs. She's like, "Oh yes, I'm sure you've heard that I'm getting married to the guy who I ordered to kill my brother, but." Would you, my brother, would you like to come to the wedding?
So is it like a red wedding?
Are we rematching? Is that what's happening?
What's going? But congratulations. Can I say no? How can I say no? I don't feel like I can say no.
Yeah. Well, that was the response by pretty much everybody.
Yes. But then we drop into another scene from a different rom-com, and we're with Hong and his guy, and they're, going through, learn about my life, see how interesting I am, let's learn about each other. What?
It's the first F. It's the first F that you are forgetting now. I forgot an F. You're forgetting an F. Food is the first F.
And
it's the most important.
yes, we are at the nut cellar. I was like,
food.
learned about my life. So we stop at the food carts in Chinatown and we're at the nut cellar and roasted chestnuts. Oh, I was all over that, man.
Not just roasted chestnuts. They were roasted with sugar.
Yes, they were. Isn't that sweet?
Oh, you're so punny.
Well, I can't let you have them all.
Well, I'm just nuts about puns, so I think we should just continue as long as we can.
But yeah, it was sort of the sweet kind of like, okay, let's venture out into the real world and see how it goes. And they're very happy and they have food and it's the silliness. How do you eat these?
I don't even know what a chestnut looks like before you crack a chestnut, now that I think of it.
Well, a chestnut, it's like that conker thingy. I mean,
it just looks like a big acorn, but they're really hard to crack.
Well, when they first fall off the tree, they have like that big hairy green shell, and then they pop out of that, and yeah, it looks sort of like a big acorn nut. Yeah, basically.
Gotcha. And before that, it looks like a hairy crab apple.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right, I'm with you.
Anyway, let's see.
Roasted cashnuts. Yes, and Marcel tells us that he's staying for residency, so we're going to get more Marcel. More Marcel and Hall.
That's what his name is. Okay, I had never like snagged that. Thank you. But then we switch over, and you know how I know for sure that Bill O'Hara has totally been living on his own?
How?
Nobody's been making him keep up the regular waxing appointments. That man still has hair on his body.
You didn't appreciate the period accurate body hair? Or the reality accurate body hair?
I was appreciating it after seeing Leary just like smooth as a baby's bum, and I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. This is Game of Thrones level like fantasy waxing.
You know, I had not even noticed the waxing situation, so I'm glad you brought it to our attention. It's now it's something I'll look for, just like bonnets or fascinators.
Yep, but I was like, no, this looks much more realistic and reasonable. And that man is soaking in a shit ton of Epsom salts. He is a sore man.
Yeah. He probably doesn't want to hear that song, I've Been Working on the Railroad, ever again. But he's going to hear it tomorrow.
No, he's going to need a 2-horse team to pull him out of that bathtub.
That's going to be rough.
But I did really appreciate that Lucy comes in and, warms up his bath with a tea kettle of like recently boiling water. Like that is 100% spot on how you would reheat a bath that somebody was in where you didn't have indoor plumbing.
I thought you were going to say she reheated his bath by giving him the start of a little handy, but...
No, that was the end.
But he has made her happy. We have finally, and she's like, I don't even give a shit that your job sucks. I will figure out how to make it not suck. In the meantime, you are such a beautiful man for not complaining. Here's a rub and tug.
Yep.
Get your ass out of this tub.
And he will now find a way to get out of that bathtub, even if it kills him.
Exactly, and get his ass back to work tomorrow.
Yep. So meanwhile,
Lucy has used enough of the stick. Now it's time for the carrot.
There you go. Yeah.
Then the Chinese roll a white guy in the Barbary Coast.
Yep. Meanwhile,
they get a little
town,
get back.
Time for some revenge. Absolutely.
Yep, they get a little get back, although it was very ill considered.
Yeah, but, one bad idea begets another terrible bad idea. You just go after the drunk leaning against the wall outside the whorehouse. I mean, my favorite part is when he was complaining about it. Must have been a dozen guys.
Yeah. It was 4. But
pissed off teenagers, and you were...
Yep.
I mean, he could have been seeing triple. That's believable.
Well, more likely that he couldn't fucking count. He can't read and he can't count. Let's be real.
All of the above, absolutely.
I used to play video games with a guy who used to always yell at his kids that he would like they had to leave him alone for an hour. Mm-hmm. And after about a year, I was finally like, bro, can they tell time? And he said no, and I was like, you fucking moron. All you have to do is teach them how to tell time, and then they'll leave you alone for an hour. It's the same goddamn thing. It's just so stupid.
Yeah, it's sort of like when I taught Kevin how to buckle and unbuckle his own seatbelt. Like, yes, it took like 20 minutes the first time.
Of screaming and crying, probably, if it was anything like me learning how to tie my shoes.
Oh, no. It's just a seatbelt. And we were just like, it involves pushing a button. So, little kids love that.
It's easier than tying your shoes.
Yeah. But, it was just sort of a thing. And we played around with it. And it took a while. And, it did take this chunk of time. But do you know how much easier my life was that I didn't have to keep buckling my kid in for the next ever?
Exactly.
It's like, well, sure, it's only like 10 seconds or 30 seconds here and there, but everybody just gets in the car, just buckle themselves in. It's so nice. Teach the kids how to tell time. Set a timer. Jeez.
Oh, God. Oh, I suggested an egg timer, too. I mean, finally, I just gave up.
But yeah, some people don't want to make their lives better.
Nope. But you know who does want to make their life better?
Who wants to make their life better? Lee, yes.
Lee. He has also decided, my wife doesn't want me to be a cop, so I'm not going to be a cop anymore. But Mosley has a very, very different view, and I appreciated Mosley's view. I really came to appreciate Mosley even more in this episode. I love this guy.
I mean, it was really funny when Abby is like, so Lee, what happened out there? And Lee's just like, with everything that's happened to my head, I'm not real sure. Like, maybe he's just, not wanting to tell her, but I'm guessing part of it, he has no fucking clue for large parts of it.
Yeah, his brain is just mush.
But yeah, Abby has absolutely no belief that things will just turn out okay. Like, she has to make things continue to work.
I don't know why he doesn't just tell her, I killed everybody. And then
she's gonna condemn him?
And then we kind of killed our way the whole way back here. So there's a lot of people dead.
No.
But she wouldn't mind. She just killed a man.
Yeah, no,
she'd be like, do I need to go get a shovel? How far away are these bodies? Like, are they coming back to us?
No, she doesn't believe things will work out. She's like, no, you have to make them work out. And sometimes that involves dead bodies. It's the way of the world. It's
Yeah, exactly. And then Mosley shows up and he's like, yeah, so you don't want to be a cop anymore, but I took a bullet for you. So you're still a cop until we solve this case.
Lee
Sorry,
definitely.
But he's very reasonable about it. He's like, so you owe me, and also you need me to clear your criminal record. So you can go ahead and keep being a cop. We'll just pretend like you didn't say you didn't want to be a cop anymore.
Yeah, because Lee definitely tries here's my badge and my gun, and I don't want to be near any of these cases. And yeah, Mosley's just like,
getting too old for this shit. Yeah.
You're cute. You're cute, can't grow a beard, dude. And I mean, the fact that he just left all of that blood on his face and everything, he's like, check this out. Check it.
Yeah. See how they shot up my whole side of my face?
That is just so fun. Even though, he's kind of a scary dude.
Plus, now he's going to be even scarier. Like, he's going to have that Otto Skorzny scar down the side of his face.
Yes.
From this gunshot wound. Which I have to say, I know it's stupid in retrospect, but growing up as a young, stupid boy, seeing those dudes with the scarring, the fencing scars, you were just like, oh, those guys were so tough. Oh, you get all in your feelings about how tough they were until you realize you're like, that was fucking stupid. Like, Jason Momoa would never let anybody cut his face. Lenny Kravitz is not going to let anybody cut his gorgeous face with a... No, you don't need to cut your face. You're going to be just fine. Like,
Yeah.
To anybody out there who thinks facial scars are cool, just remember Lenny Kravitz is going to have his girl back, and Jason Momoa is now off riding motorcycles with no woman. So just pretty and nice is the way to go, not the tough guy. Just wanted a PSA.
Being nice because it's a nice thing to do, not so it'll get you something.
Yes, yeah. Well, again, that doesn't even occur to me, but thank you for that.
I mean, nice, but let's clarify.
Yeah.
But so there's nice and then there's not nice. And so Yeonmi she's just in her shop working, and Young Jun shows up, and he is not really a nice dude. And Yeonmi, because she's a clear-eyed young woman, goes, well, I'm dead.
Oh, yeah, I thought she was dead too.
But my life's in danger.
Yeah. He already found out I stole all that money. Shit. Like, it wasn't even real money. Like, it wasn't really stealing.
Oh, see, I didn't even think that, like, Young Jun found out she was stealing money. Just, like, she's seen the guy operate. She's like, well, for some reason, he's decided he's done with me.
Oh, see, I'm just, the way my brain works is I immediately am like, I am caught, and this is the only thing I have done, so this must be the reason why I got caught. Like, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Whereas Yeonmi, like, she has just gotten shit for things she didn't do or things her brother did, or just for being a girl, and she's like, well, you know, I didn't want to work for gangsters, and I'm working for gangsters, and this crazy shit's gonna come kill me, and I don't know why, but So when he says, I need you to teach the other gangsters, that's when she's like, okay, I gotta start buying my train ticket.
Yeah. She's like, all right, so I'm training my replacements, which means the second they can run this press, I'm dead. So I have that long to get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
But the dumb thing is, she's like, but these idiots can't learn. And it's like, yeah, so slow walk them through this process and just be like, yeah, sure. I'm going to teach these guys. They'll be great in like 5 years. So,
right.
And they look dumb, but I'm going to work with them. But she went through a little bit of wrong tack there, I think.
I think she did, but she also does know that, you know, if she did slow walk him, Young Jun would just be down there like frothing and jumping around like a hopped up, you know, cocaine laden cricket. Like, hurry up, faster. And then he'd lose his shit faster. So and I don't think she's good at the gangster game. She's just too inherently honest.
I think she just knows that Assam will kill the shit out of Young Jun if he looks at her sideways. So
that's true.
And I think this is the episode that sets up Young Jun's death, honestly, because it's Young Jun acting crazy, and now he is looking weird at Yeonmi, and he's looking weird at the most noble guy in the entire show's girlfriend, who is unimpeachable and not even a gangster. So like.
Right.
It's going to go bad. He's going to say, kill that bitch. And Asam's going to be like, well, now I'm going to run this shit. And we're going to nurse your dad back to health. And we're going to dance on your grave together.
Yeah, possibly because your dad did give me the okay. Because, yeah, it is sort of like Father Jun gave Asam the okay. Like, I do want you to take over. But, yeah, there has to be that last irrational thing that forces him to be like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody's already made up their mind. The only person who's still like, but Young Jun can do it. They're like, the only person who's still Young Jun's cheerleader really is Assam. Hong isn't even. He's just like, God damn it. Just gotta keep this fucking idiot alive.
This used to be fun, and this is not fun anymore. But yeah, like he literally has nothing else.
Yeah.
So,
but he keeps me in delicious street food, so I'm gonna kill as many people as I gotta.
So we get some more Mai Ling tying, and, you know, sort of like we were talking with Eliza, like it's her husband who's making her life miserable, but she can't yell at him. It's the white people who made Mai Ling's life miserable, but she can't go yell at them. So once again, shit rolls downhill, and who's going to take it?
I'm stuck on, is there a restaurant that if you would, the only way you could gain access to this place and still continue to eat there is if you had to kill one person a year. Is there such a restaurant, and what is that restaurant? Because you are such a foodie.
I'm sure somewhere there's such a restaurant, and I wouldn't be surprised if it had branches in like Dubai and Moscow and somewhere terrifyingly rich and exclusive in East Africa. I don't know.
You're just saying that there is probably such a place, but you're just speculating about its existence? There is no such food that is irreplaceable in the world to you otherwise.
I don't know.
You wouldn't be hung for any restaurant on planet Earth as a foodie.
No.
Wow. I would. There's Gauchos in Pittsburgh, PA. It's oh my God. It's Argentinian food. It is the greatest chimichurri, the greatest meat you'll ever. Oh my God. It's so good. My mouth is watering now thinking about it.
I mean,
I intended to go get Szechuan because I love Szechuan.
Yes.
And I smelled this place from 4 blocks away and followed the smell there. I was drooling by the time I got there, and I have never eaten at the Szechuan place. I've never once even considered it. Since I went to Gaucho's, never gone anywhere else. If I'm on that block, I go there. If I'm going anywhere near Pittsburgh, I'll go there.
Now, see, for me, like, I can either find it elsewhere or I can make it myself, even if it requires a giant burning pile of meticulously chosen wood.
Well, at least we know we're safe. If you ever start wearing Buddhist prayer beads, we know they're not for strangling purposes.
No.
All right.
But anyway, yeah, so Mai Ling is still, like, she's still just having bad feelings about getting pushed around by all the white folks in San Francisco. So she's gonna use Atoy's little conflict to just take it out on this pimp dude.
It's a fun thing watching her negotiate terms and being the arbiter of doom for this pimp. But
Yes.
And you can see Lee Yong the entire time is just smiling like, oh, let me kill him, please.
Come on.
Yeah.
He deserves it. Everybody will be happier. Come on, this will be a good one. This will be good.
But Atoy's like, here's money for these women. Go fuck off. Go fuck yourself. Also, I'm inviting Atoy to my wedding because she's just dropping those grenades, those wedding grenades. Like, hey, Atoy, I know we wanted to kill each other a little while ago, but wedding invitation. Boom.
How can I say no? It doesn't feel like I can say no. It's not going to be a red wedding, is it?
Oh, we left out the best part with Asam's wedding invitation was her flippant, oh, bring your +1 as well.
Yes. She loves
Bring the
saying
printer
that.
girl.
Yes. Just one more reason to look down on you. I just love looking down on people. And my brother, my favorite to look down upon, and his uncouth working class girlfriend.
Well, plus she knows it'll wind up Young Jun because Young Jun's all pissed off that he's banging the printer girl. So like, she's just doing it to stir shit all over the place. But it's very interesting because it looks like a peacemaking process at the same time.
Yes. So, peacemaking. Yeah. That's Mai Ling's favorite thing to do wrong, I think. So yeah, and she also thinks she's, businessing, but we get another business lesson in this episode, and it really is, what is the worst way to solve a problem?
She also thinks she's businessing.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing cats with little neckties on, like, business! In the background.
No, it's Young Jun who's bad at business in this case, and it's like, how do you solve a problem that you've just discovered? And definitely going and yelling and threatening your unempowered employees, that's always the best way.
Oh, not only that, but his sick father is hallucinating and has gone missing.
Just wandered around.
And instead of going, oh my God, my sick father has gone missing, can you guys please come help me find him? He just starts screaming at everybody, making it sound like this man has stolen all our money or something.
Yes. And he's got all of his employees like so scared of him that instead of somebody saying, hey, Young Jun, tap, tap, your dad's like wandering around. What do we do? No, they're so scared. They're like, but he's Father Jun. I didn't feel like I could do anything, and I couldn't come ask you for help because I knew you'd bite my head off.
Yeah, it was stupid. But I mean, Young Jun is just a master class in like how to fuck up your own life.
Yeah, because then he starts coming up with solutions, and even if like people have like suggestions or how they could help him out, they're not going to open their mouths.
No, especially not when Young Jun's first suggestion to everything is stab somebody. Like, you don't want to be the person getting stabbed. Maybe just keep your mouth shut.
I mean, their favorite part is when Young Jun starts pointing in directions saying, you go that way. They're like, yes, I'm going to get to run away from you. You told me to. Bye-bye.
Let me get the fuck away from you, sir. Thank you. Yeah. But then we get to see Lee Yong's compassion. I mean, because he's such a peaceful, pacifist guy. Like, he's that tortured artist, tortured soul who wants to be the Buddhist monk, but he's forced to kill every day. Yeah. So when he sees Father Jun, he's just filled with compassion and brings him back. And Lee and Young Jun can't handle it at all.
No.
He can't even thank the man for like, thank you for bringing my father back. No, he's just too panicky and pissed off.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, come on. Talk about setting the scene was so perfect. The way Lee Young just gets to like walk out of the mist. It was just like...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Like the Zen Buddhist who's come to peacefully solve everybody's problem.
Yes. And yeah. And Young Jun is just like boing, boing, fight, spit. Like he's inarticulate. He just...
It's totally the difference between weed energy and liquor energy. You got Lee Young is very chill, but he'll fight if you want. But and then you got Young Jun who's just ready to fight for no fucking reason at everybody all the time.
And speaking of fighting for no fucking reason, everybody all the time, the Irish are back in Leary's bar and they're like, our good Irish boys are in the jail. We gotta go get them damn Chinese. You know, they are just frothing themselves up, and Leary is so mad he starts breaking furniture at his own bar.
Rabble. They are definitely rabbling. They are, yes. There is some good old-fashioned, unintelligible frontier gibberish going on in that place.
Yes. And, yeah, he just bashes that table to smithereens and
he
says,
becomes a
all
leader.
right, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, well, as you were saying, I was just punctuating it with, he becomes a leader. Yes.
Yes. But he, he's like, look, first of all, I don't recall seeing you in the riot before. So here you are yelling, I want another riot. It's like, it's all these people who are like, I can't wait till there's another civil war. It's like, you have never done combat. Like, people who've actually...
Never even been in a fist fight.
Right.
Yes. Have never put their hands on another person with any intention of violence. Those are the people yelling about a civil war.
Yeah, I'm like, no. Go look at the before and after videos of Kiev or something. Yeah. Like Christmas right before the invasion and then like 2 months afterwards. Like this was a beautiful city.
Yeah.
And
also the people yelling about how they want the civil war are not going to be on the Ukrainian side of that, watching the Ukrainian situation either. They are going to be on the Russians dying in heaps as drones murder them side of that.
Like,
the federal government has all the weapons, not the states. Yeah. Like,
they really don't want to use them. And I've been reading and writing and researching so much about, food in wars. And like, yeah, we have nice MREs and everything, but dude, those run out, and like it is just, even if you do have your little pack of Skittles, you're sitting in a puddle in clothes you haven't changed in 3 weeks.
Yep. Yeah, with an aging infrastructure that's going to get bombed and then fall apart. It's just, none of it would be good. Also, we would be fighting in the same place where we grow our food, just like they're doing in Ukraine, which does not work out. It's not. I mean, we got Canadian grain, but it only goes so far.
The Canadians might want to keep that because they're now living next to crazy people.
Yep. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
They're
going to have to build a border on, or then they're going to have to build a wall.
Right.
They should build a wall. Jesus.
Yikes. So
anyway,
don't do business. Don't do business like Assam. Or don't do business like Young Jun. That's a terrible idea.
No. Be like Lee Young. Yes. We're following here. Chill.
Yeah, just chill. Chill out.
And Assam in the next scene also settles an issue without violence. It was really a banner day for these guys. Lee Young and Assam really showed that they had grown as human beings. And both of them managed to solve something without killing somebody.
Yes. And, I mean...
Yeah, so Assam goes to the kid who nearly started a riot, and it's like, but he doesn't punch him. He just kind of jacks him up against the wall and looks like he's going to punch him. And he's like, you're a fucking dummy. And this is actually a really great way to teach a teenager how to not fuck up again. Like, you could be getting a beating for this, but I'm not going to give you a beating. You did something that deserves a beating, but I'm still not going to give you a beating. You could have done something that you could have caused a tremendous catastrophe. Don't ever do that again. And the kid got the message. He was like, shit, and this is my hero. I don't want to let him down. Yes. So he's never going to let him down. Yeah.
Right. And he did it in public, too.
And Leary made a great point, too, when Assam was like, yeah, I'm not the boss of this, so I can't really, like, broker this deal you want me to do, or we're not going to have a riot. And he's like, yeah, there's a 10-foot fucking mural of you on the wall back there.
Right up there.
Yeah.
That thing.
So
right there.
I'm in charge and you're in charge, even if we're not in charge. Let's not have a riot. Let's try to stay alive. It was nice.
Yeah, we may not be in charge, but both of us desperately don't want another riot. Absolutely.
Yeah. And we both just agreed, we built this goddamn country. Let's try not to kill each other so we can enjoy it a little bit.
Right. And so after that, Assam and Atoy are upstairs, definitely smoking a cigarette that they put opium in.
Oh, see, I thought they were smoking weed.
I don't think
cannabis was popular at this time, but it didn't get really, really popular until Prohibition. But it was popular in the American Southwest.
Okay, because I'm not real sure, like, when... Because, I mean, I know they were smoking hemp, but that was more of an...
Yeah, all the founding fathers.
That was an East Coast thing, and it wouldn't have, like... But it is a weed. It's literally a weed. It will just grow about just any goddamn where. Yeah,
it really will. It's a lovely thing. And it grows really well in Mexico, so it's been down there forever.
Yeah, and we've already established that there was, like, the whole opium trade out of Mexico, so why not the other? Yeah,
I mean, they were making pharmaceuticals for all intents and purposes, so they would have grown both, probably.
Okay.
And they put cannabis into all of the patent medicines, all of them. So they were definitely growing the shit out of cannabis. I just don't know where.
Okay, so it could have been either one. Anyway, that was not
all
a
those
regular
cough syrups
cigarette.
and everything were like opium and laudanum and cannabis and cocaine all mixed together. A little bit of everything. Why not?
Some camphor, some caffeine, some of it'll kill you, some of it won't, some of it
40% grain liquor. 40% Everclear.
Is some of that methanol? I don't know. Taste some. Are you blind? You're not? We're good.
Yeah. And you won't feel it anyway because morphine and cocaine.
Yeah. I don't know what's in there. Just whatever we've got lying around. But anyway, it was not a regular tobacco cigarette. We can agree on that.
We can agree on that. It was either a J or it wasn't. I didn't even know there could be an opium cigarette, but I suppose that makes sense.
Well, that's how when the Dutch first brought tobacco, the Dutch and the Portuguese brought tobacco to China. They're the ones who started the smoking opium thing because they would add opium to their tobacco. Because up until then, opium was mainly eaten or taken as a tincture.
Yeah, I knew that they smoked it out of those hookahs, but I didn't know that they added it to tobacco. So that's what they're smoking out of hookahs was opium tobacco back then. Like it wasn't just.
No. Like the Dutch were just putting like the opium like in their pipes, like their regular like tobacco pipes to make. Yeah, and then it sort of got refined from there. So, but actually like developing the opium pipe, that was an offshoot of the Dutch and the Portuguese bringing tobacco and smoking opium tobacco mixtures.
All right. Well, here we go. So Atoy and Assam were getting high one way or the other is what we
One
know.
way or the other. They were chilling out.
This is our second Riverdale scene where it's like they have the hazy candlelight with the the corona around the candles and the smooth jazz playing in the background.
Yeah, but they're looking at each other like, how heavily armed are you going to Mai Ling's wedding? I don't know. How many weapons you bring in? Like they were definitely. I'm not going unarmed. Like I'm not stupid. How about you? They never said it exactly, but I could hear what they were saying.
And then it cuts to Lie plotting a revenge in the weeds.
Da, da, da. Yeah, outside Strickland's house.
She is going to kill that giant. She's going to kill Strickland's giant man.
She's going to have fun. He deserves it, she's sure. Probably does anyway. But she's going to do it. And then we come on over to Thayer dropping out because of the dirt. He's going to go kick dirt. And he tries to insult Buckley and say, look at you. All alone, by yourself. And Buckley's like, you know what? I don't have to be alone.
Well, I couldn't believe Buckley won that verbal sparring match because he was like, yeah, you can go ahead and be mayor, you piece of shit, you little hunchback, like crippled piece. I mean, he's just, nobody likes you, your mom hates you. I mean, he's going on and on and on. And all of it's dead true, but none of it lands on this man because he's a soulless piece of shit. And he's just like, yeah, go home to your fucking family. You're never going to be mayor because you're weak. You're worthless.
Well, because all these things, I'm a cripple, whatever. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I've had these handicaps for years and I've made it work.
Yeah.
Like, you're not telling me anything I don't know.
Yeah, he rips that man to pieces and then he rips another bodice. Oh, the bodice ripping has occurred twice now. He has ripped 2 bodices, and I would have guessed any other person in this show would have been a bodice ripper other than Mr. William Buckley. He does not strike me as the bodice ripping type.
And I was just like, okay, they are just trying to make me crazy. Because first of all, that dress that she was wearing was sort of like Penny's bathrobe thingy way, way, way back in season 1. She would not have been wearing a corset under that. And even if she was wearing a corset under that, she would have been wearing a piece of underwear under her corset. But just stop. They're just trolling me at this point.
What was the... Oh, she didn't need a bonnet because she was inside.
Right, yeah.
Okay. You get to take the bonnet off to have sex.
Yeah, I mean, she's in her own house. No bonnet needed for that. Now you're being silly.
Although a fascinator would stay right on. You didn't even need to take it off. It's just, hat pin right through that bun. Pop those skirts up and get at
it. So... Young Jun.
I am so happy about that little tidbit. I just am never going to let it go. I tried to surprise my wife was a degree in fashion design, and I thought I was going to get her. I was like, oh, I learned the name of these tiny little hats. And she was like, yeah, they're fascinators. How did you not know that? I'm like, there is no other vaguely straight man who kind of knows the name of this damn thing, except for the people who listen to this.
I've made people's lives strange and annoying in brand new ways.
Hey, that's what we're all about. And now there's a bunch of straightish men running around going, fascinators, they're tiny little hats stuck on a women's heads with a hat pin. It's amazing.
There you go. Well, we go on till next week when it's when you're losing a fight. So it sounds like something climax-ish is going to happen.
Yep. Well, maybe they're going to climax in many ways. Probably lots and lots of ways.
Probably lots and lots of ways.
There's going to be more bodice ripping, more climaxing, and Young Jun is losing it. At the end of the episode, Hong isn't keeping him chill, and basically we find out both Hong and Assam are on the chopping block because Young Jun has lost his fucking mind.
Yes, he is. He's vibrating, and if he were like a blanket, he'd just be fraying at the edges. All of the threads are coming apart. Like he's just turning into like a big pile of loose threads, tying itself in knots. Like this is not a stable human being anymore. No,
he needs one of those Temple Grandin like cow hugging beds that'll just calm him down. Now you just need to be soothed, sir. You need to be just.
I don't have time to be soothed. Everything's going wrong.
Just get into the sleep pod, sir. You'll be fine. Yeah, somebody needs to go back in time and give that man a sleep pod so I can just crawl into it and be like, you know what? I feel a little bit better now, but everybody leave me the fuck alone. And then 5 minutes later, he'll be like, I think I could maybe come out. But no, you should probably stay in there for another 24 hours.
No. You need a couple hours, man.
Yeah. Somebody just needs to come and rub his back and just be like, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine.
I don't have time for this.
I gotta go out and stab somebody. I'm gonna stab somebody in 24 minutes.
So yeah, we're coming to the end of season 3. We've got
Yep, we're getting
All sorts
another Denny Gordon episode is the next one, I believe.
Oh, really? So
I
stylish
believe so.
again. Okay.
Yep, stylish and violent.
There we go. Well,
And
we get to find out whether or not the wedding is red.
well, will we? Is this the wedding episode?
Yeah.
How could the hell could this be the wedding episode? They were just like, we're gonna get married, and then 2 episodes later, there's not enough time to plan a wedding. How are they doing this? What kind of Chinese wedding planner? This man just came in with a wedding planned already? It's like, I was waiting for this day my entire life. I got it.
Well, also Chinese weddings at this point, there is a standard set of things that happen. It's not like she's trying to necessarily be original or make her wedding stand out with all sorts of new cupcake towers or something. There's like certain ways that Chinese weddings happen.
They're like, we just need those boingy cymbals. A lot of boingy cymbals. And what is that instrument? Do you know? It's in the Chinese opera cymbal that boing is always going like they like rattle some metal sounds and then it makes a boing
not
noise.
A music person.
It is a weird
longest person to ask.
They got some strange ass instruments in Chinese opera. It's
But it also tells you they have some pretty good metallurgy.
Oh, they do. I'm not saying the drumming is on point, but it's
No, but it just cracks me up that like all of like the fact that the Chinese had their metallurgy on lockdown so much earlier than so much of Europe like comes out in these funny ways. Like
they also had antiseptic procedures. They had all kinds of things we didn't have.
Right. I don't know, just because there's like all of these technological aspects that I think about when I'm dealing with food and, metal and glass and cardboard and eventually plastic and like the whole sort of like technological engineering thing that goes into all of that and it comes out as food. But I've just gotten very obsessed with what is possible because of what tech happens when.
Ooh, that's fun. I mean, we get a lot of that with the History Channel on, like with the shows about the mechanization of food and 20th century food and stuff, which has been really fun to learn about. But you don't think about it going back as far. But I mean, even the fork is a relatively new invention. So
yes,
yeah, and that's crazy to think about. Like you were just eating with a knife for the longest time.
And your fingers, too. Like, that was the whole thing about finger bowls. And so when Catherine Medici, she shows up in 15th century France, and people are like, why are you putting this metal in your mouth? Like, ew.
Oh, that was the Medicis that came up with that?
Well, the Italians were really the first ones to use forks in Europe, yeah.
That makes sense. That was probably there so she could stab somebody when nobody was looking. She was just like, pluck an eye out whenever I get a chance.
No, they were more like you dump your poison ring into their wine. That was their shtick. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They didn't get so overt about it. That was more the Borgias, I guess.
Yeah, or I don't know. The stiletto in the underarm, and so nobody sees when they were actually stabbed. That's always the good one.
Oh, man. And then, so that was happening in Europe. It was just a bunch of people living in mud huts, stabbing each other. And then in China, they had running water and acupuncture, and you could get diseases cured and cataracts cured and surgery on cataracts.
Complexly woven silk cloth dyed a rainbow of colors. Yeah.
Yeah. You're wearing a hair shirt, you're covered in boils, and you live in a mud hut. And you're getting stabbed every day in the United States and in Europe, and then life is wonderful.
And we're printing books.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in China, it's basically the 20th century without electricity.
Which, yeah. I mean, to be fair, they were using a certain amount of hot and cold running servants to keep the world running, but so is everybody else.
Yeah, and that's another thing that when we're looking at history and comparative history, and there are some assholes that really use this in a shitty way, but it's easy to get down on America or white people in general for slavery, but you look in Korea, they had a different kind of slave. It was you were called servants, but they were serfs. Mm-hmm. They were slaves, and serfs were slaves.
Right.
So there was a slave class in a lot of different cultures, and which is what
absolutely
drove the machinery of society. It was the same in Sparta, except they were communists on top of being slave owners. So I think they might have been the only communist slave owners.
I think the big difference is it was sort of like once slavery stopped being a thing here, there, or elsewhere. I mean, there are always definitely societal exceptions. It's sort of like, okay, now you can just sort of blend into the general society and you're not marked out in any certain way. Whereas in America, it was so much race and slavery so closely tied together. It's like, I remember Irish slavery, but like once you're not an Irish slave, you're an American. Like nobody looks at you and goes, oh, I'm going to denigrate you because of the color of your skin, regardless of whether or not you came from Ireland, 200 years ago or last week.
Yeah. So long as you're not fresh off the boat and you don't have an accent, nobody knows any different. You could be Mike O'Hanrahan, whose family has been here since the Mayflower. So,
yeah. So, I mean, the American situation is unique because there's such that racial element to it. Whereas, slavery was how the world ran for thousands of years. Like, you can't even pretend otherwise. But just the American version of it is so unique because there's such that racial element to it.
Yeah. It's, boy, but it makes history so interesting, but at the same time so complex. It's hard to say there's any good guys, because everything's so nuanced and difficult to parse.
And yeah, you can look and see there were definitely better and worse ways to do slavery. The entire institution sucks, but you could keep your society pretty stable when the life of a slave wasn't like that disparate.
Like the Ottomans. I mean, they even had like a president's slave. I don't remember what the title was, but it was not... Was it Sultan? There was the Sultan and then there was another one. It was like the prime minister, but he was a slave.
Yeah, because in that case, a lot of the slaves got treated badly, but the Ottomans were willing to treat their own citizens equally as badly.
Yeah.
So, hey.
It was a dumpster for everybody.
Right. Unless you're on the very tippy top, sort of whatever hill you are dealing with. But yeah, there are better and worse ways to do terrible things.
And they still had lower income inequality than we do in the United States right now.
Oh, yeah. And
which is fun. It's amazing that we have worse income equality than slaves had.
Yeah.
But there you go. That's something to ponder for the next week, I guess.
All right. For the next week. Well, while everybody is sort of wrapping their brains around that terrible situation, where can I find you on the internet?
I am on the Instagram at Plague of Strength, where I post daily about all things martial arts and lifting related. Well, just exercise related. How about yourself? You are... What now? A podcaster, are you not?
I am a podcaster, which is how I got into this ridiculous situation, having a second podcast with you. But if you ever want to listen
Absolutely ridiculous. Who listens to two podcasts? Nobody would do that.
Two podcasts. Well, if you do want to listen to my first podcast, you can listen to The History of American Food, where I'm just about to finish up my series on war and adventure. I'm working on... what soldiers drank and why coffee was not the official beverage of the U.S. Army yet. It was rum.
Oh, was it really?
Yes.
Well, I guess you were really paid in rum, especially in the Navy, right? But you're paid in liquor. That was part of your payment in the military.
It would sort of depended on the time and place, but it was not out of... It was not out of the realm of possibility, though. Even though you were paid in liquor, it was still pretty strict about when you could and could not be drinking it.
Oh, interesting. I just assumed people were drunk all the time in the military back in the day.
So did I, and it turns out, no. You could actually get in a big whole lot of trouble for being drunk at the wrong times.
So there were sober people letting other people force them to go to war with no shoes on.
Well, they knew.
How?
Okay, how? Because a lot of the people showing up to war with no shoes on knew at least they had a better chance of getting fed if they did join the army. They could either definitely not get fed by staying where they were, or they could join the army and maybe get fed.
Jesus, that is possibly even sadder than our income discussion. Good God. I'm going to go to war where I'll probably lose my feet to frostbite. And if I live through that, I'm going to die from a bullet or something. But maybe I'll get fed. The worst food a human being could possibly eat.
Yeah. Sort of, mostly. I never want to say this is definitely the worst, because then I'll find out something that's
And they never
worse.
even put people who knew how to cook in charge of cooking. Why is that?
Oh,
I know we got to wrap this up, but I'm curious. Why did they specifically disallowed people who like to cook from being the chefs in the military?
Well, no, that's not true. Anybody who could actually cook got snapped up by the officers. And so then just cooking duty just rotated through the different soldiers. And so sometimes a camp might have like the guy who was the least bad, or they would just be like, I don't want to cook. Well, I don't want to cook. Well, I don't want to cook. Well, we hate you the most, so we're making you the cook.
Nobody was like, well, I don't want to get food poisoning today. Well, I don't want to shit my pants today. I guess they were just doing that. They all had dysentery because they were in the army.
But Jamie, there's no germ theory, or if there is, nobody believes it. How do you get
Well,
dysentery?
there
I
was
don't
in
know.
Asia, but even they got dysentery when they went in war. It was just.
No.
Yeah, so guys, when you read about all these badass soldiers and the Alexander the Great and all that, just know he had shit running down his legs the entire time. And as did everybody else. He killed that shit running down his legs. He did, as he was running, shit splattering the people behind him, because they had every intestinal parasite and disorder of the stomach that a human could have if they were at war. Tell me I'm wrong, Greta.
I can't.
Most people died of dysentery in war, right? You died of disease, not of your battle wounds.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
usually of the communicable diseases you would catch in camp, like cholera or dysentery or something like that.
Or tetanus. You could get that too.
Oh, fun. That's always a fun one.
Hydrophobia. Yeah. No, for a lot of people, the best death they could have is a clean kill on the battlefield. Everything else was misery.
Jesus. You know, Bart Starr, the quarterback in the NFL, he only became famous because his brother was unvaccinated with the brand new tetanus vaccine, because his mom said absolutely not to, because Jesus says no. We need to keep the Holy Ghost in the blood, and the robots from the vaccine will get it out. So he stepped on a bone while they were playing in the front yard, like one of the dogs had buried half a bone. And he got tetanus and died. And Bart Starr's father never forgave her. So he their whole life just hated this woman. And hated Bart Starr until he won the Super Bowl. And then was like, well, I guess you're all right. And also, I told you should have vaccinated the other fucking kid too, you bitch. Like, he never let that go. It was pretty wild. Yeah,
wow.
Like, he pretty much died like, fuck you, you bitch. You should have vaccinated our kids.
And yet another reason that no-fault divorce would result in a lot more unmiserable people.
Yep. But people are too bitter and vindictive for that, so that'll never happen.
That's true. Some people live on hate. All right, well, we should let everybody go. And
we will see you some other time. Probably next week.
Okay. Probably next week, yeah. All right, we'll figure that out. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right, bye.
We're on Instagram at PCG Podcast, and you can always reach out to us by email at pcgpodcasters@gmail.com. And you can find more dope beats like this one from royalraven.com.